land surveyor, not
okay, land surveyor. Thank you.
And I'm a licensed land surveyor and still the president of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors in the Volta region.
Okay. And thank you very much for joining us. Give us an idea what the situation is in South Tongu.
Yeah, good morning, Senna, your listeners, and to everybody. First of all, I heard about an appeal you are launching for a patient. Is that right?
Yes.
Sure, okay. So myself and my former constituency chairman, Chairman Ampa Johnson, will also put in our widow's mite to support your cause this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That means a lot coming from someone who has to cater for his constituents at this time. So thank you. Sure. We're very grateful.
Yeah. So to say that your community is submerged in water.
Yes.
And the earlier you come to think about what we can all do together, the better it will be for us. Yesterday, I took some few rounds in town, and the situation I saw from the Fievie area and under the bridge, and the reports I got from Tesla, Sokwe, Agbeve, Agome, Amutinu, and also Agodome areas. It's terrible. The first time the spillage was done was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it came unaware. People were very much unaware of the spillage. Even if they were, the level of education that we expected to come through leaders of the communities, the MPs, the DCEs, the assembly members, so as we can educate our people down there, wasn't much. So much so that those who have cages, aquaculture is one of the thriving businesses in the community. And so there are a lot of people who have cages stocked with fish, especially tilapia, all along the Volta Lake. And so when the spillage came, a lot of people, because of the speed with which the water was coming and the volume that was coming, they were so overwhelmed that the ropes to the anchors were torn apart, and the cages moved, and they lost all the cages together with the fish stock that they had in it. Subsequent to that is what also started again from Tuesday, I guess. More spillage has been done, and as we speak, the Sogakope Bridge, when you get over there, you see the level of the water so close to where the cars drive over. And the water widths that were cut from upstream are coming down, floating on the water surface. And some of them are clogging even around the bridge. They may also help in increasing the water level around the bridge. We are only praying that the level doesn't overtake the bridge itself so that it could also be submerged. But some of those recreational facilities that were dotted around the edges of the banks of the river, or some of them even on the river itself, most of them have been submerged. A typical example is the tent of Judah. That is, if you are crossing the Sogakope Bridge, on the left side, there is a pub that is on the river. It has been not completely. As of yesterday, the water was at the window level and all the room is filled with water. Beyond that, I am sure both Cisneros will be affected. Waterfront has been affected. The lowest arc that is down has also been affected. And so farms at the inlands have also been affected, because you see there are a lot of creeks that are connected to the main Volta Lake. And so once there's a rise in the water level at the Volta Lake, then it overflows to the inland. And when it overflows also at the inland, farms were affected, buildings were affected, to the extent that the substation at Sogakope, which is located after Kumbuni going to Fievie, has also gotten flooded, which has resulted in a complete power cut. in the whole of the area. So since yesterday, there was light out. I don't know how long it is going to take the water to recede for this light to be restored. And so apart from people's homes getting flooded, there is a more serious situation where lights have been taken off. That means that if it has to take a month for the water to recede, people are going to stay without electricity for that long. And so places like Gonu, Beko, Sonupo have also been flooded. Students cannot go to school because the roads on which they would walk to school have all been flooded. The only way they can go is when we put boats over these roads, turning to rivers now for them to cross to go to schools. People's homes have been affected and they will have to move. So that is the level of severity of the issue we are talking about. Yesterday, I watched a clip where the spillage from the Akosombo Dam, I saw how it was. And unfortunately, callously, those spilling were like fun to them. Yes, of course, they may not be the top management of VRA, but it's like they have not gone down to assess the situation that is on ground. For which reason, they are just spilling, not for fun particularly, but the way those around them behave as if it was fun to them. Like I said, there's another challenge at the estuary at Ada. You know, that is the last point of discharge of this spillage into the sea. And if you've been there before, you realize that there's a pile of sand at the estuary. It is the responsibility of VRA to continually be dislodging that sand, possibly to the river banks, to form the fine beaches that we have long looked for. But over time, they have not been doing this yearly ritual of pumping out the sand or dredging the edge of the estuary so that water can easily flow into the sea. And another thing I find intriguing is that there should be technical people, engineers, or there are technical people and engineers and serious actuarial scientists there who should be able to assess the amount of water or the volume of water that is coming into the dam on daily basis so that they can forecast what their expectations will be in weeks to come or days to come. And by that, they should be able to tell the amount of volume, if it becomes worse, they are going to spill. And if they do, they should be able to assess on the lower portions of the dam how many feet up to the size of the river the overflows are going to go. So that based on that information, people can be educated enough to move up higher grounds. The situation is that, you see, this spillage is being done these times on a yearly basis. And people have not experienced this for a very long time. History tells us that the last time it was serious was about 1968. The first time was 1963. So from 1968 up to now, that's over 55 years ago, no serious situation like this has happened. So those creeks that have never experienced this level of flooding for a long time, people took things for granted and began building in those areas. If you ask me as a licensed surveyor and as a technical person, there was no way I was going to advise anybody to do that. Because any day, any time, even the normal rains can take us over, let alone spillage of this nature. But people took it for granted and built at those places. Those are the reasons why people are being affected now. Immediately, people would have to move from those lower grounds, go to higher grounds. There was also the insatiable desire of most people to build so close to the river so that they can experience that being by the river front and the experiences that come with it. Those are some of the challenges that we are having now to experience by water taking over most of these places. And so my advice would be that people should quickly move upstream for a meantime. And VRA, which is the cause of whatever is happening, of course, they are saving the dam, which provides the whole of Ghana hydroelectricity. But beyond that, their action is affecting a lot more of our people. I am not too sure what disaster remedies they have in place. NADMO, as I am aware, is as broke as the country itself. And I'm not too sure they have anything in their stock that they may be bringing to bear to us. Hello?
Yeah, so first, you said, I think one of the things you said first had to do with, so the people were, all of you, everybody was taken by surprise. There was no prior information. Nobody was told that this was going to happen for you to, at least, because I know there are a couple of radio stations around for you to speak on those radio stations, advise people to take safety precautions. That never happened.
No, the information we saw being a memo released from VRA came so close to the time they will be spilling. I think a day or so before we experienced the spillage. Even the first one, I have never cited any memo from VRA to that effect. The spillage just came, and then the ravaging situations we experienced came up later, and I saw some info or memo coming from them about the latest spillage that is happening now. But my point is that, you see, they know the volume that is going to be spilled and the effect it is going to cause. It should not be enough for them to say that we are going to spill this volume of water. It should also be that to this extent, maybe grounds up to this height. Even that is a technical language that most people will not understand. My expectation was that technical people from the Akosombo Dam should have come on the ground along the bank to indicate to people the extent to which they think the water can come, so that people could be advised to move to higher grounds. Of course, the good news is that we have not experienced any casualties so far in terms of death, and so that is good for all of us. But if people were informed earlier, I'm sure they would have moved their belongings and their property from these homes that were very likely to be flooded, so that property will also be saved beyond life being saved.
And at this point, what is needed? But I'm sure you were listening to Togbega when he was complaining about the fact that mattresses and plastic buckets and plastic cups were not what was needed. Do you agree with him? And what do you think needs to be done urgently? First,
farms have been taken over. People's homes have been flooded. I'm sure if they have any food stuff in there, definitely they would also have been taken over. Yes, of course, the plastic cups and those things may not be too necessary, because if it's plastic cups, people can pick from their homes. Mattresses, I'm sure they will be able to move their mattresses. Food and where the people will sleep should be the issues of concern for us now. Higher grounds needed to be identified. People should be advised to move to these higher grounds, especially the schools, the churches, and places that are higher grounds that people can occupy for now. Immediately, those are the things that we need. And then I'm sure some form of compensation whatsoever should follow subsequently, because VRA has been negligent in carrying out their responsibilities, for which reason people's properties would have been lost and destroyed.
So first, shelter for the displaced,
yes,
food, and then the compensation should follow.
The compensation should follow subsequently for people to restore their homes.
In the meantime, you still see the water level is still rising.
It's still rising, my brother. It is still rising. And from the intel we have picked from VRA itself, it means that there's more water in the dam and more will be spilled subsequently. Originally, some people were suggesting that they spill in lower volumes and quantities. But if it is true that there's much more in the dam to spill, we should also be looking at the integrity of the dam. That if the spillage is not done, then the integrity of the dam will also be compromised, and that will be more disastrous for all of us as Ghana. But in the meantime, those of us downstream who are suffering should be critically looked at and sorted out as quickly as possible.
So there's still no direct information from the VRA to the people as to Are they still spilling? You don't have that information. How long they'll keep spilling?
How long they'll keep spilling has not been made known to us. It is only the communicate that we also on WhatsApp or social media to the effect that the spillage is continuing. As to whether it's going to be a week or more, nobody. I am not aware as of now. If there is that information in the system that I'm not aware, that is fine.
Is the lower Volta bridge safe?
For now, the level of the water under the bridge is so high, and the difference between the level and the lower bottom of the bridge itself, it is not that much. I only pray that it doesn't rise further to take over the bridge completely. Those will be information that DRA itself should be given to people, or those should be indications that should be coming through. And my surprise is that government itself is so quiet on this matter and is not making any frantic effort to come to the aid of the people. It looks like government is so aware of this situation for a long time and decided to keep so mute over it. Is it because it's water region? Is it because we are not so valuable to them? Is it because they don't bother so much about us there? It's becoming critical, and the loudness of the silence of government is so deafening, and so I think that the president should see this as a very critical situation and then come to our aid. At least we start statement and sending people over to examine the situation that is on ground. It was not just the local authority, the DC, together with the MP, with the police command, fire service, and some journalists yesterday that went around to assess the situations on ground. But the question is that going to walk in the flood to meet people's homes, what does it bring? Does that solve the problem? Are you a technical team to assess the situation enough and to report to somebody who can take a policy decision immediately to avert the calamity in which our people in? And so for me, technical people from VRA, government should come on ground and assess this situation. Disaster, people who are well versed in disaster and technical people from VRA should be on the ground now and to be giving us direction.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you so much, my brother. We're making a call to government to come to our aid. Our people are in so much distress. And the earlier government comes to our aid, the better it will be for all of us. I want to share my condolences once again with all my people who have been affected with this dastardly act of the spillage, which is affecting a lot of the homes. And once again, ECG, whatever can be done as quickly as possible, let us do that. If we have to be connected to sister substations so that lights will be restored, please, let's do that. Because it is like a blank check. We don't know how long it's going to take, and that will not be too good for our people.
And of course, I grew up with my mom actually running a domestic sort of cold store business, and you know, a lot of trophy is done in Sogakope, so I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of meat in their fridge.
In their fridges,
yes. So that needs to be dealt with. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. That is MAXWELL LUKUTOR. MAXWELL LUKUTOR is the NDC parliamentary candidate for South Tongu. He is also president of the Ghana Institute of Surveyors, Volta Regional Branch, joining us on